Alright, hi. I know it's been a while since I have been on here. I was actually, as you guys know, I was pregnant not too long ago, and then I had a miscarriage, and I've kind of taken some time off just to, get everything together. But to touch base on that, in January, I'm not fully tracking, and my husband and I only tried a couple of times, so we really weren't like delved into being like, okay, let's try again. We're going to be doing that in February, and so we tried a couple times, just a couple, and I really wasn't tracking. And I put in my last cycle a little late, so that way I wasn't really overly tracking. But when I put that in, we only made it one time. So again, we're really going to be deep diving into trying to conceive after a miscarriage in February. As you guys know, I believe I put it in a video, I was a whole mess during that whole time, and I kept thinking I'm going to touch base and make a video of it. But in the midst of being pregnant last time, I really asked my OB, my new OB, I changed because I didn't like the last one I had, but I asked the new one about a lot of things I was doing and what I could do differently. And I know miscarriages, unfortunately, they just happen sometimes, but I was really trying to do everything right and trying to be healthier. As healthy as I was being, I was still doing things that weren't the healthiest. So, main thing, I cut out caffeine completely. I was only allowing myself 1 cup of coffee, and if ever I do want caffeine, I will allow myself 1 cup of coffee. Maybe not daily as I was doing. It's been a progress of getting rid of it. But during my pregnancy, I was up to 2 from Herbalife. I was up to 2 mega level 3s, which is like the most caffeine. And so it's energy, NRG, and I had 2 of those a day. I also would have a cup of coffee, and I also was getting to the point I was having a coffee at night as well. I completely would crash at night and would sleep very well, but because I was on such a high, been drinking a lot more water since the miscarriage, as well as another thing that really affected it the last time was I had a panic attack at work, and I wasn't doing my job correctly, and a lot of it, I guess in a way I was trying to find someone to blame. And I do think the panic attack, I had a panic attack at 5 weeks, and even though I miscarried and everything expelled out of me at 8 weeks, it had stopped growing at 5 weeks. So I was really enraged with my boss, because they continued bringing me in the office, knowing I was pregnant, knowing I'm hormonal and all that stuff, and just constantly bringing me in the office. And one day it was just this round and roundabout thing about, why did you do this? Don't ever do it again. Da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, I won't. Why did you do it though? Don't ever do it again. I'm like, I just told you I won't. And then it's like, well, don't ever do it again. Why did you do it? It just continued to be constantly asked that I just snapped. And I yelled, I screamed, I walked out for the day, and I was in tears. I was hyperventilating, which is not good for the system, my system, let alone what it's affecting inside of me. So I was really mad at my bosses. But I'm kind of been putting 2 and 2 together, that being as caffeinated as I was, it puts you on high alert. So it's almost like a drug. It really is. Being that reliant on caffeine is an addiction. And I do think I was heightened to being paranoid. So anytime they bring me in the office, what normally now that I'm not caffeinated, they brought me in the office since, even after everything. And a part of me was annoyed at first. I was like, God, even after everything, you guys are still bringing me in the office? But they sat me down and they're like, hey, we need to talk about this one situation where you kind of got angry. And it was after the miscarriage, and I was really mad. I was mad at the universe. And I try not to bring it home because I don't want it to affect me and my husband. But I guess I kind of was taking my anger out at work. I wasn't ever mad at anyone or anything. I just was mad. And so they're like, we need to talk about this day where associates kind of heard you yelling, heard you cussing, heard you getting upset. You're kind of just mad. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't cussing at anybody. But I agreed. I was like, yeah, I was. I was mad that day. Like, I get it. I completely understand. Had I not learned anything and still been taking those 2 big cups of coffee and 2 big cups of energy every morning, so all that caffeine, I'm sure being brought in the office again, I would have been like, what are you talking about? I wasn't being mad. Like, I think that's how it was from their perspective, where they're like, hey, we need to bring you in the office. What were you thinking when this situation occurred? And what should have been like, oh, I didn't know that was a big deal, or like, oh yeah, I did the best I could, like rationally talking to them, because I was on such amount of coffee and caffeine and paranoia. I just started yelling. So they'd bring me in the office and it's like, hey, can you explain this? I don't need to explain it. I don't understand. And I would just start going in on them. And I kind of get it from their standpoint. They're like, the fuck is wrong with you? But again, not only the caffeine, but the hormones, they go crazy too. So I talked to the district manager, and I did talk to my bosses as well from the district manager's suggestions to talk to them, tell them for next year, this is kind of how I want to go about this. I don't really want to be brought in the office as often if it's not hurting anyone. If I'm not hurting anyone, I'm not hurting a dog. Again, I'm a dog groomer. If I'm not hurting a dog, I'm not doing anything detrimental to anyone, then stop bringing me in the office every 2 seconds. And I also respect you guys. I wanted them to know I did respect them, and this was me trying. I got brought in the office I think 3 days after I came back to work after my miscarriage, and they're like, hey, we need to talk about the situation that happened a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, okay, this was a couple weeks ago, like, why are we mentioning it now? And they're like, well, it got up to higher up, and you were kind of being outrageous with your temperament. We understand you're upset. And I was like, no, I know it was uncalled for, and I was upset that day. And everybody, anything, not at the actual people or anything like that, just the situation. I'm just mad. I was mad at the universe. It's just been hard. I work with a girl who is pregnant right now, and I would never want anything to happen to her baby or anything like that, but it's been hard. I feel like her and I really got along due to me being pregnant at the same time she was pregnant. So losing my pregnancy, no one ever asked, hey, are you okay? No one ever, and I get it, it's awkward, but I just got told when I came back sooner than I should have, coming back to work, and I even told them I'm physically better, but my mind is still not there. And I don't know, it just seems like really no one really talks to me anymore, and I guess it's just awkward. I get that. I'm the type of person, if someone's sick from the cold and they come back after having the cold, I'll ask, hey, are you better? Hey, are you okay? And I didn't really get that. I just got, oh, wow, you're back early. Well, if you need anything, let us know. Well, I kind of need, understanding. I like to talk. I like to talk about things and stuff. But at the same time, no one there can really relate to what I'm going through. So it's more mad at the world, and I kind of started tearing up, and my boss, it was kind of harsh, but it's the harshness I needed. And they told me, we get it, we understand. Again, we are sorry for what you went through, but there's a time where we need to kind of move on, start moving on. And at first, like in my head, I could be like, wow, they don't understand me, fuck them, fuck this. I was like, yeah, they're right. I can't continue holding a grudge against the universe for this, and kind of like me being like, oh, I'm never meant to be a mom. I'll just give up on ever being pregnant again. if I did that, I won't ever be pregnant again because I won't ever be happy again. So they kind of put me on a final write-up because it was bad. I was swearing, cussing, yelling. I actually fell that day at work because I was trying to take the dog straight out the door to go, he's being picked up, and he decided to go this way. I was trying to go straight and he decided to go this way, and he's a big lab that's basically the size of Great Pyrenees. So when he went this way, my body was not ready to go that way, so I fell. And I cussed, of course, when I fell because it hurt. I landed on my wrist. My shoulder is still not okay from that fall. I think my feet are still kind of effed up too. And, they're like, oh, do you need to go to the doctor? And I kind of worded it truthfully. If I had still been pregnant, sure, absolutely, get me into a doctor. Let me make sure my baby is okay. I wasn't pregnant anymore, so I'm like, it's just me. I don't give a fuck. Like, who cares? I don't care if I'm okay. I'm fine, I'll get over it. It's just a flesh wound. I get hurt there all the time, but I was more mad. I was just mad, so I wasn't cussing at the dog, but I cussed at the situation. Like, I'm like, fuck, like, I just fucking fell, blah, blah, blah. And again, like, if I heard someone fall, I would go back and be like, hey, are you okay? Oh, let me help you. Wow. Here, I'll take the dog. I'll help that person. Nobody helped me. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just fucking get up by myself. I guess I'll just wobble up here and give this dog, this big massive dog away by myself after I fucking fell. So yeah, I was pretty angry. So I understood. I admitted to it. They're like, so you're on the final write-up. Do you know what that means? I was like, yeah, I'm being fired. And he's like, no, you're not being fired. I was like, okay, so basically if I mess up one more time, then I'll be fired. And my boss was like, well, not in that harsh a way, just basically the severity of it. I also stopped caring about my job, so I really wasn't caring if I was grooming dogs properly, like quality-wise. So I was having a lot of dogs come back. So what he means by that is if another customer comes in and says, hey, this ear's a little too long, or this ear was taken down short, or I'm not happy with this quality of groom, it wasn't about that. It's about my emotions are throughout my grooms. So at those times, I love every single dog, I always do, but I really stopped caring about the job. So I'm just like, this is just another dog, another day, another dollar, whatever. Okay, just, factory. Like, okay, bathe this dog, dry this dog, groom this dog, send it out the door. And there was no love being put into it. It's kind of like food. When someone doesn't put love into the food they make, you can kind of tell. It's hard to explain, but you can just tell. So they're like, we basically, AKA, need you to start caring. We basically need you to start caring again. So I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I get it. So for 2 weeks, I was a little anxious because anytime I saw any of my bosses, my salon manager or my store manager, my heart would kind of start racing. Like, am I fired? Am I still here? Do I still work here? Like, I don't know. Because they're going to reevaluate it in 2 weeks. And I kind of felt like the next day going in and being like, hey, I don't feel comfortable being on the tightrope of fuck up and you fail, like you're fired type thing. So here's my 2 weeks. But that's a whole different thing. That if I were to ever leave dog grooming, if I left the place I'm at now, I made a promise when I moved out here and applied with them that if it didn't work out with them, I was going to be done with dog grooming. And someday I will be. I used to say, oh, I could dog groom my entire life, but someday I will be, mainly because my body kind of is giving out on me. But I know this isn't it. This isn't the time I need to be doing that. So I kept my mouth shut, slapped a smile on my face, been talking to my coworkers like they're my best friends, when a lot of them, they're not my best friends. I get along with them, I like them, but I feel like with every single one of them, and I've been the same way too, but like, we all can co-work together, but there's really no trust there. So at drop of a dime, if I book something incorrectly or I check out dogs sooner or something like that, like I'm always overly communicating because I've learned the hard way. People get mad at you if you book incorrectly, if you silly stupid stuff, but if you service complete incorrectly. So I'm always asking, hey, did you sell any add-ons? I'll add it on before I service complete. Are you done? Like if anyone's like, hey Amanda, and that's another thing. I hate my name sometimes because grooming in general, not just this place, but even at the last shop, the instant I walk into the door, it's always Amanda, Amanda, hey Amanda, hey Amanda. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. But I can't do that anymore. So I'm like, oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hey, can you do this for me? Yes, ma'am. Can you do this for me? I'm kind of busy, but as soon as I get time, I'll definitely do that for you. Thanks, Amanda. Things like that. So people are really, I'm really kind of kiss-assing. But it really made me appreciate my job again because I had lost the joy of my job. I didn't really care for it, to be honest. It just wasn't fun anymore. But knowing that at any moment I could not be there anymore, I love every dog that comes across my table. I do. But sometimes I'm just a quiet worker and I just don't talk to my dogs. Like I'll hug them, I'll kiss on them, but I'm so focused on what I'm doing that I don't talk to them that often. I've been over talking to them, I've been singing to them, and I've been having a really good time. I'll make them dance, like treat them like my own dogs, like just really form a bond with them, get them on the table and, let them settle in first, like we'll play like a little like, not hide and seek, but catch my hand real quick or something. Just forming bonds with them again and really treating every dog as if it's the last dog I'll ever see, because who knows if tomorrow they're like, oh, this lady didn't like the groom, so you're fired. So I've really been forming bonds with the dogs again and really loving that part and that aspect of it. And then it's not like I love my coworkers, but I can tolerate them. And I had my 2-week check-in with my boss, and she told me I'm doing great. I've been super helpful. My grooms have been looking great. So with all this being said, I will continue the TTC journey after miscarriage. I didn't think I was going to want to, and I kind of thought of what else could I do with this channel. But I talked to my sister the other day. It's interesting how the universe works, because my sister and I went out to eat and I had a moment because this little baby, like itty bitty baby, came up to us and kind of walked over and was like smiling and happy. And when she walked away, I did this. I didn't do it in front of the baby, but it made me sad because I was like, I should be however far along right now. For my last pregnancy, and I'm not pregnant right now, and it just hit me. And my sister was like, oh, she's so cute, and I was like, she is. And I was like, I just really want one. And I started bawling and crying, and the mom came over and was like, did my daughter bother you? I was like, no, it's okay, I'm just emotional, especially with babies right now. And she's like, okay, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, it's okay. I asked my sister, I was like, can I ask you for a real question? She was like, yeah. And I was like, do you think I'm meant to be a mom? I never, like my sister when she was a kid, she wanted to be a mom. When she played with dolls, I played with dolls too, but she wanted to be a parent someday. And I just played with dolls like, okay, this is cute. Okay, now I'm going to go back to being me, Like, I never really thought about like, I want to have a baby someday. And if ever I did, I wanted to adopt. I was adopted. I'd love to adopt. And that's another discussion my husband and I have had, that if we do get pregnant again and it doesn't work, I want to start looking into adoption for sure. And all that stuff. But I just asked this question because I'm like, if the universe keeps telling me and taking babies from me, taking possibilities of babies from me, and saying you're not meant to be a mom, who am I to fight that and go like, well, I want to be a mom, so I'm gonna make me be a mom. And I just wanted to know her opinion. Like, do you really think I'm meant to be a mom? And of course, she's like, yes, one day you will have a baby that you'll take home, that will be your own, and all this stuff. And just really gave me positive vibes. And for the past few days, again, I did not track. And when I did put in my last cycle, my husband and I only hit one day that was fertile, and it was like the early days of it. And then it was at the beginning, I was like, okay, probably no chance, and that's fine. We really weren't tracking, we really weren't trying. But the last few days, I've really just been listening to my body. And the first thing is I needed to pee a lot, and I always have to pee a lot, and I always allow myself to pee due to my kidney stone past. I always allow myself to pee if I have to pee. But I was needing to pee a lot. And then I've been feeling exhausted, but I'm always exhausted. My job is very demanding of me. But I haven't been grooming that many dogs, and I've been going home pretty darn tired. And then my breasts have been feeling very sore and tender. And they're feeling full again, because after the miscarriage, they kind of... the double D bra I was wearing during my pregnancy, yeah, it's not needed anymore. So I was able to fit into my normal bras. But they're beginning to fill up, but I'm getting close to my cycle, so I understand. And I've also been feeling nauseous. And my husband even said something like, wow, you've been nauseous last few days. Like, kind of throwing up every morning. And I was like, yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I just think I need to eat breakfast in the morning or I'll throw up, you know. I just need to eat breakfast, that's all. And then I'm feeling a pulling that's so familiar from when I was pregnant. And I was like, it's most likely, all of this is most likely, they're not pregnancy symptoms. They are most likely my body's still adjusting and everything. So I'm not going to get excited. And it's interesting because last night when I went and had dinner with my sister, I almost bought an alcoholic drink. I actually almost got alcohol. But I was like, no, the one I wanted had pineapple in it. And I still, since my miscarriage, I have been living as if I am still pregnant. I still haven't been drinking alcohol. I allowed myself one night of alcohol. That was a mess because, again, angry side of me, and I had a lot to be angry about, came out. And it is for New Year's. But that was the only time. And then, again, just not drinking caffeine, only allowing myself 1 cup of coffee every now and then, maybe every other day, not even every day. Drinking water. I've been eating fruits. I've been eating vegetables more. Just trying to still detox and clean and just live as if I am pregnant. When I get pregnant again, I don't know. I'm not going to overly test where I'm saying, oh, is that a line? Is that not a line? No, oh my God, what is that? Like, am I just seeing something? And she's like, you should really just go ahead and get digital, because then it'll just tell you pregnant or not pregnant. And I was like, yeah, I've never done a digital before. And she's like, well, that's how I did it, and blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know. But then that's when I asked her, do you think I'm meant to be a mom? She really inspired me, really uplifted me. And so I went home. I don't have digital pregnancy tests, but I did have the stick kind. And I peed on one. You're not going to see anything. Like, this is the time people think I'm crazy, because, like, it looks completely empty. But the thing is with a negative one, and I'll post pictures in here, with an absolute negative one, there's nothing. Like, no indentation on these little pre-mom pregnancies sticks. There's no indentation. There's no indent line. I saw, and this is what happened last time. Last time it happened at 9 DPO, and I saw a faint dent. What looked like a dent. It looked like it could be mistaken, like someone kind of folded it, and it looks like a little dent. So I was like, I don't know. So I waited a couple hours. I peed on this kind, which is still like a Dollar Tree type version. And I peed on that one. and I posted it to the Glow app, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I just got inspired to go home and go pee on some sticks. And I think I see something, and I'll post this picture for sure. And I asked if someone could invert it. I do have an invert, but I'm not good at seeing this stuff. So someone inverted it, and they're like both non-inverted and inverted. It's very faint, but I see something. And a lot of women are saying they see something. But this has happened, and I understand chemical pregnancies happen a lot too. And I have had a chemical pregnancy as well, where one day is like everyone was like, I see it, oh my god, congrats, da da da. The next day there's nothing. So I still didn't want to get my hopes up. So I went, and the next morning, very next morning, I peed on, oh, that's the complete negative. So today, which is January 19th, again, I miscarried November 24th. So January 19th. What? And according to when I did put in my last cycle, I'm only at 9 DPO. I did not see a line, and the app did not pick up a positive until 10 DPO. I know that's just 1 day difference, but I already saw 2 lines, a very faint, and then one that you can, with it and inverted, see something. And then this is super faint, and I'll post a picture of this one too. But I let it sit. At first I took a picture of it on the digital to see if I'm pregnant or not, and it said no. And I was like, I'll just let it sit for 3 minutes. And I did it again. And I took a picture with the app that tells you in word form, and it said pregnant. And I was like, no, I just don't trust it, because like, what if that is just an indent line? That's really strong. I don't know if indent lines can be strong, but what if? So I decided to go get a digital like my sister recommended. And I have the video. I'm going to drop the video there too. I'm going to do a video because I've always wanted to do one. I'm pretty dang sure, just by listening to my body, I have a pulling, my breasts are sore, I'm super tired, I'm having vivid dreams back to back. But I don't want to get my hopes up, so whatever it is, it's fine. Que sera, sera. Holy fuck. Oh my god. That's insane. I'm gonna take a picture and send it to my sister. And in the video I say I'm gonna go take a picture and send it to my sister, which I did, and I'll insert that picture too. And I'm gonna cry, because I already cried the instant I saw it on this little one. I cried last night. But I'm pregnant again. I did not think that right when I'm like, I'm going to revamp my whole YouTube and make movie reviews and just forget this whole thing. I'm doing things so differently though this time. I've only sent my sister the picture that I am pregnant. I don't know if I'll tell my job. The only reason I would need to is if I get a dog that has to be bathed in flea and tick shampoo, I can't use that. That's a harsh chemical, and I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk using that, and we're not supposed to let pregnant women use that flea and tick shampoo. So at that point, if that ends up happening, that's when I'll be like, I can't. Can someone else bathe this dog? And it's like, well, why? Well, as of right now, I am currently pregnant. That's when I'll say it. But other than that, I don't want to tell them, get everybody all hyper again and stuff. I'm going to feel bad, but I'm not going to tell my mom. I messaged my doctor and told her I did get a digital positive pregnant. So I was asking if I could go in and get my HCG levels checked. So after I go in and get the second HCG levels to see if it's rising, because right now anything could happen. Right now, really anything could happen. If they are rising, that's when I'll probably reach out to my mom and be like, hey, as of right now I am pregnant, but I'm not going to go make a whole post on Facebook. When it comes to social media, I really, really think I am going to wait until I'm 8 or 7 weeks before I deliver my baby. Because in my past, at 17, I miscarried at 7 weeks. And this last time I miscarried at 8 weeks. I want to make sure everything, because I don't want to be like even past 7 or 8 weeks and then be like, okay, I'm in the clear, I made it. Or even I've heard so many, and I'm just so aware of anything could go south at any moment. So I guess this turned into a pregnancy announcement. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. I planned to film today, but I was gonna film a review for a movie. But I really don't think that's my life. Yes, I'm obsessed with film, but I might just write like journals or something of that, and then that's how I'll do my reviews. I have to have it more organized. I can't, with the TTC journey, I can just be like, oh, this is what I've experienced. But with the movie, I have to write down like actors, who directed it, who did this, who did that. So there's a lot of tediousness that goes into it. I don't know if I'll do that. I've also thought about going into photography as well. But who knows? As of right now, the thing I was going to be like, come on here and be like, actually, I'm changing my whole setup because I'm going to push it to the far side of my brain. It's like, actually, guess what, guys? I'm pregnant again. So, I am excited. I am going to try not to be so excited and try not to pee on the stick every single day, every other day. And just kind of like how I found out I was pregnant. Just listen to my body. And if I start feeling like things are going wrong, go get checked out. So that's so far my journey. But yeah, so we're doing this, guys. We're doing a TTC after miscarriage journey. And really is just trying to conceive. That really is what it is. I just really want a baby. I'm gonna cry. That I can bring home from the hospital, happy, healthy, and that I can call my own. Obviously my husband's too. But that we can just have our little baby. And I've already talked to him that, because we've had a vacation that we could have been going on this year, but he had me cancel it last year. But now he's wanting a vacation this year. I'm like, if I had just kept the deposit last year, we could be going on one this year. But we are gonna still be looking into a vacation for even like what they call like your baby moon and all that stuff. So yeah, all things surprising. Again, right when you don't think you're gonna be pregnant, there you go. You're crying about like, am I even meant for this? And then it's just like, poof, there you go. So interesting how the world works. But I have learned with this final write-up at work and everything to just be lighter. Don't drink as much caffeine to make yourself paranoid. And just, I've been through this before. If I go through it again, I think I'll be okay. And if I don't, if everything goes well, maybe this is our year. Our last pregnancy was going to be due July 2nd. And according to the app and everything, this should be, if all goes well, should be due in like September, late September, early October, which is peak time for me. I've always wanted to start trying for a baby in January, February, March. So last year when we were trying in like July, August time, I was like, this is kind of later, but that's okay. So either way, we may have a baby by the end of this year, and that's amazing right there. And it's actually more in the time frame of when I would want to have a baby. in kind of more of the fall and winter times. Like, oh, I'm just so excited. But I don't know. I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to start pre-planning stuff, building a registry, doing all this stuff, because then if the negative happens, I did feel really stupid last time. I'm like, I was making pregnancy announcements, all that stuff. I will post the picture I sent to my sister. The meaning of that is I will never forget, I will never regret. That's a song that has got me through a lot. It's gotten me through the test I kept failing back to back to back. I had to take a year off taking that test, and I finally took it. And I will never forget the hardships it took to finally pass that fucking test. And I'll never regret trying over and over, because so many people were like, you don't have to keep trying, you don't have to take the test, it's fine, no one's gonna think less of you. But I want to do it. I want to do it for me. And just like so many things, that song has been there. I'm sorry. That song has been there for me. It's called Closer to the Edge by 30 Seconds to Mars. And that band, that song, everything, and it's not the members of the band that mean so much to me. It's just that song. It means so much. I can't even explain it. I sound silly crying over a song, but it's been there for me in my darkest of days, and it's always let me see. I don't regret those dark days. I will never forget those dark days. And if anything, it makes me appreciate them when I'm finally able to see and have the reward at the end of it all. So, regardless if this is another journey down a dark one or down a light one, right now I am happy, and right now I'm kind of in a state of shock. I did not think I was going to be pregnant again this soon. I've heard of people getting pregnant soon after a miscarriage, but I didn't think it would be this soon. I really thought we'd be trying in February, and this time next month, if I had seen pregnant, I'd be like, okay, we really tried. I get it. So, but thank you for watching this. We will continue this TTC journey after miscarriage. Thank you for everybody who's commented. I'm sorry I'm late at answering comments. I get really wrapped up in life, but I will always take away time to sit down and read the comments and respond to you guys. And I thank everybody. I have gotten such sweet responses, and I really just thank everybody, and I'm excited to be doing this with you guys. And again, even if it's a negative one, I know you guys will be there for me, and I appreciate everybody who's watching this, and just thank you so much. Stay tuned. Alright, thanks.
One
Bye.
day, maybe we're made again. I will never forgive. I will never regret.